Getting some more folks joining. I am going to give it until maybe 2 minutes after the top of the hour, and then we will start. Thanks so much. All right, let's get into it. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thanks so much for joining our webinar here today. So today we're going to be going over an update to our New York School Bus Incentive Program charging portal. We have a new way of logging in and applying to the program, as well as a couple of additional questions on the application itself. Otherwise, it functions pretty much the same as it always have. So just to get started with some introductions, my name is Sophie. I am a project manager here at NYSERDA. I run the New York School Bus Incentive Program charging voucher, and am looking forward to walking you through all of this today. Can we go to the next slide? Just a minute, folks. Looks like we're having a little bit of a frozen screen issue here. All right, we are back. So just to get started with a few housekeeping items. So um, Everyone's muted upon entry. If you have questions, you can add them in the Q&A function. We have somebody from the Center for Sustainable Energy here with us to answer questions you may have throughout the presentation, but we will also have a Q&A portion afterwards. So if you click the three dots in the lower right-hand corner and select Slido, that is where you can input your questions. If there's any technical problems with the webinar, if you're having trouble hearing anybody, feel free to put that in Slido as well, but also feel free to reach out to Adam at adamhawk@nyserda.newyork.gov. And as per usual with NYSERDA webinars, this webinar will be recorded and the slides and the recording will be posted on our website. So you'll be able to access all of this content moving forward. Next slide, please. So for the agenda today, first we're going to start off by reviewing a new feature as a part of this process, which is the contractor application. Then I will walk you through the new charging voucher portal, and then we'll leave some time for questions. Next slide. All right, so first we will be talking about the contractor application. So I just put together a view of what you'll be seeing. So when you log into the contractor application, and you'll have access to all of these links after the webinar, this is what you'll see. So the reason that we have a contractor application, this is standard across most NYSERDA programs. What the contractor application is you're basically applying to get permission to apply to a NYSERDA program. The existing school bus incentive charging portal doesn't have that feature because it was built into a new version of Salesforce. But we felt that this version of the NYSERDA portal functions a little better and runs into fewer technical problems. Which is why we'll be using this. So there's just this additional step in order to apply. I do want to start off by saying that if you have an existing application as a part of the New York School Bus Incentive Program charging voucher, you can still edit that application in with your current login and all of the same information you already have. Nothing is getting deleted or moved at all. It's just if you submit a new application, this is the process that you need to follow. And that goes for districts that may have submitted a previous charging application and will now be submitting an additional one. Any applications moving forward need to use this system, if that makes sense. So this is the contractor application. Once you log in, you can select the New York School Bus Charging Program, and then you'll check the box that says School Bus Charging Voucher Solicitation, and then hit Continue. Next slide, please. So then you just have to basically enter your company information. So a lot of the information says business, but basically we mean your school district. So you can enter in the information about your school district. And then down at the bottom, we will have you share your EIN number. This is so we can set up a ID for you in our finance system, which will allow us to pay out your project as things get closed out. Next slide, please. So next, after you finish that page, we have you enter primary contact information. Next. And then just some basic questions. This is standard across all NYSERDA contractor applications. So we just ask you if the company's operated under any other names and other basic information about your school district. And then once these questions are answered, you can click the blue button that says Provide Electronic Signature. And next slide. And then so it'll open up a paper version, PDF version of the application on your computer. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see this line for signature. And if you click this purple button, you can submit your signature digitally. So no need to print or submit anything on paper. Next slide. And then the signed application automatically uploads to the required documents for you. We have one additional required document as a part of this is we need to see your W-9 form as a part of this so we can get you set up for payment once again. Next slide. And then you can click submit, and then this is what you'll see. So it's pretty simple. After the contractor application is complete, I get an email that says one has been submitted, and then I can approve it, which will allow you to move forward and apply for the charging voucher. And so now we can review what that process looks like. Next slide. Next. So this is what the NYSERDA partner portal looks like. This is the standard NYSERDA portal across most NYSERDA programs. So you can log in with your username and password. If you are new to the NYSERDA portal, you can create an account before you get your contractor application approved. So the contractor application doesn't necessarily grant you permission to log in. It's just to apply to this specific program. So you can create a username and password, and then on the next slide, you'll be able, once you get that approval from the contractor application, you'll see New York School Bus Charging Program here. And so the partner portal is you can create one standard login, and any NYSERDA programs you want to participate in will be listed here that you've been authorized to apply for. So from this page, you can click on the New York School Bus Charging Program. Next slide. And then you choose your district. Next. And then once you've chosen your district, I use Albany as an example because that's where I live. You can choose whether you are applying for chargers through a school bus incentive project or for buses that were not purchased through NYSERDA's New York School Bus Incentive Program. This isn't anything new. Just wanted to review it again. And then we have another new question at the bottom here. Are you getting make-ready funds for customer side utility costs? This isn't something that we asked before, but we want to now, just for utility coordination purposes, if you are receiving make-ready funds and you select yes here as a part of your redemption when you close out your project, we will ask for that information to be included on your final invoices as well. Next slide. So here is an additional question here. So if we selected a school bus incentive project at the top, that's just blued out because it has some application information. So once you select your application, if you're linking it to a school bus incentive project, another question will pop up here that says, will you be using this application to help purchase a charger for each bus in the selected school bus incentive project? What this means is we wanted to add an opportunity for districts to apply for some of their chargers now and then some of them later without having to submit like an entirely new Salesforce application. So we know that some folks like to submit multiple applications, and this way you won't have multiple records and you'll be able to keep track of things because all of your school buses will be linked to one application, but you don't have to apply for all of the chargers now, if that makes sense. And then there's the make ready question and then the fleet electrification plan bonus question, which is standard. Next slide. So if you select no to will you be using this application to purchase a charger for each bus, it'll ask you how many buses from the selected school bus incentive project will be associated. So it knows how many charging modules to ask you for later on. Next slide. All right. Sorry if there's any background noise, folks. Then it will ask you just for your basic primary contact information, so name, address, and then whether you're from a school or a third party. Next step. So then we have you enter in your charger information. Next slide. So here's a basic example. Ask you to select your ports, manufacturer, model number, location will be the address that you have for your charging project and your school bus project, and how many units you intend to install. Next step. Then you'll have to upload your charger specification sheets, infrastructure purchaser agreement, and electrification plan. If you were a third party, if you selected yes on a third party is applying, you'll have to upload a third party operator addendum as well. Next slide, please. Then you certify that all the information is accurate. Next slide. And then you can submit. So again, not a lot of changes to the way the application functions. It's just a new way to log in and a couple additional questions at the top. So we can move to the next slide. And now we can move into the Q&A portion of the presentation. It was a pretty quick one. Hope that was all pretty straightforward, but happy to answer any questions you have and clear anything up. Seeing that we don't have any so far, so we'll hang out for a while in case anybody thinks of any. All right. See a few questions coming in the chat. So see Matthew asking, what is the definition of a contractor? Can third parties submit this form? So yes, so in this case, so for the contractor application portion, contractor basically means it's anybody who's applying to the program. So that's just NYSERDA's payment function. So third parties can submit the contractor application in order to apply on behalf of school districts for the charging voucher. Another question, what if the district is purchasing a charger that has 2 ports, but they're only purchasing a single bus at this time? So, for example, a district would like to buy a dual port level 2 charger for future needs. No, unfortunately, you would only be eligible for, actually, when it comes to odd numbered ports, you can do that. So basically the way it functions is if you get 2 buses, you're eligible for 2 ports total. If you're down to 1 or up to 3, if you purchase dual ports, you're eligible for like 1 additional port. So yes, if you have 1 bus and you want to purchase 1 dual port charger, you can do that. Will there be an update to the school bus and charger voucher NYSBIP guidelines this year? At this time, there is going to be some minor updates coming down the pipeline, and those should be announced soon, but nothing major. Is there an available step-by-step document visual of the required pieces of the application? Yes, there is. So these slides will be shared after this, and if you're curious about the specific documents you need to upload, those are available on the program resources section of our website and in our implementation manual as well, which I'll make sure you have access to. William's asking, so NYSERDA would pay the district the full amount towards the cost of the dual port charger, not half the cost. Well, it depends on how much you're eligible for. So the charging voucher is a fixed amount per bus, and it depends on whether you're a priority district or you're doing a fleet electrification plan. So say that you are a priority district and you're doing a fleet electrification plan, you would be eligible for $65,000 per port. You could get up to that amount covered. So if the charger and installation cost more than 65,000, you'd get that 65. If they cost less, then that is the amount that you'd get. So it depends on the cost of the charger versus the number of vouchers that you're eligible for. You're welcome. You got a couple more minutes to see if other questions come in. What additional information is required when you select yes on the fleet electrification plan dropdown? Great question. So same as the current charging voucher application, it'll ask you if the fleet electrification plan is through NYSERDA or not. If it is through NYSERDA, it'll ask for the fleet electrification plan agreement number that you have with NYSERDA. If you select no, you can just move forward. Iran asking, so a portion of the charger voucher can be used to cover some or all of the installation. So installation costs are covered as a part of the charging program. We cover from the customer side of the make-ready costs through up to the actual charger itself. So we don't cover any of the utility connection work, but we do cover things like switch gears, transformers, wiring and conduit, things of that nature. Another couple minutes for questions as they come in. All right, not seeing any additional questions come in, so I think we can leave it there. But thank you so much, everybody, for jumping on. Like I said, as per usual, this was recorded, and a recording will be shared as well as the slide deck after this call. And you can reach out anytime with any additional questions to myself or our Voucher Help Center. So please feel free to ask any additional questions, and thanks so much for joining today.